Hello, Sounders. It's Mick here. So, it's been a nice week, a really good week, if you ask me. Our chairman and owner has been praised to the rafters in a world-famous publication called FORBES Business Magazine for his extraordinary achievements in the entertainment industry over his lifetime. And then, additionally, and this is why it's important for us, with Pompey in bringing us financial security and growth. Amazing. In such a difficult, competitive world as professional football. This Forbes story is going worldwide. It puts us in a place of prestige we've never been in before. And the football world cares about publicity and stability and money. So it's a good story for us. And we've also had a really positive week because of the Fans Forum featured on BBC Radio Solent. It was a lovely event full of hope and positivity and good words spoken by a lot of people looking forward to the new season. The other good bit of news is that we seem to have reached agreement with Tottenham to take one of the best teenage footballers in the UK on a season-long run. So that's another bit of good news. I think that may come out a bit later on. It hasn't come out at the moment, but I'm pretty sure it's going to. It's coming out from the Tottenham end of things, but we're waiting for Pompey to announce it. And yet, for all this good news, Sounders, still they moan. Pompey fans, not many, just a few, but I'm not going to ignore them. They seek recognition. Otherwise they wouldn't go into print. So I'm going to give them some. When I read the term happy clappers, it fills me with scorn for the person who wrote it, particularly if it's about football and Pompey. I'll explain why. As far as I'm aware, happy clappers was a description of the people who go to Christian evangelical churches and sing and dance and enjoy their worship in a bit of a sort of obvious way. It looks sometimes a bit bizarre and weird, and it wasn't popular among the more straight-laced church-going community, and still probably isn't. Anyway, what it's got to do with us, I do not know, but it's been seized upon and manipulated, this phrase happy clappers, by a few to mean over-optimistic, gullible, naive human beings, and it's been applied at times this summer, and particularly this week, to Pompey fans. This week, with regard to the BBC's excellent, happy and hopeful review of Pompey ahead of the new season, because of the positive Forbes survey of football finance with particular reference to Pompey, and published widely here because we have Michael Eisner, an American owner of our club. Mr. Eisner seems to trigger deep distrust from a few Pompey fans, either because he's American or because he's wealthy. Neither of the things, their attitudes to be despised, I'm afraid. So, but I'm talking about one very small group of Pompey people picking on another very large group of Pompey fans and calling them happy clappers. How this phrase was chosen to describe such a big group of football fans is just hard to fathom. Beyond the joy of support for Pompey, these folks, these people aren't gullible or naive. They've been through the mill. They've been through it all in support of their club. And they now see a good thing when it pulls up on the doorstep. They see Michael Eisner, Mr. Eisner, a wise old billionaire of a bird, prepared to sign up his reputation to the good name of Portsmouth. A man who doesn't need to make money from us, from them, or make himself more famous than he already is by identifying with our club. A man who's lived long enough to understand that a place in history has to be earned and has to be built to last. Most Pompey fans understand all that and are grateful for an owner who simply wants to live out the principles of a successful life and pass on a strong, well-run football club to the generations to come. To describe people who share these convictions as happy clappers is paranoid, pathetic, and pusillanimous. Sounders, pusillanimous. In other words, weak, cowardly, and frightened of taking risks. Or, in my definition, frightened of Americans. Actually, that's not the definition, you understand, but it is weak, cowardly, and frightened of taking risks. Pusillanimous, that's my word. So get off our backs and let us enjoy the ride. Finally, to come to this 19-year-old Korean that we, I think, have picked up. We will see in the next hour. Yang Min Hyuk. Now, I'm making that up. I don't know how you pronounce his name. That's how it reads to me anyway. Yang Min Hyuk. We'll see. Someone more expert, someone from Korea, hopefully, will fill me in on that. But one of the most sought after loans out of the Premiership this summer, coming to Pompey, arriving on the back of a brilliantly managed loan of Freddie Potts by John Massinho and his coaching team, which was clocked by every Premiership club worth their salt, you can be sure of that, as the way to look after young talent. West Ham have pretty much said that since he's returned to them. And still, there are Pompey fans moaning, saying, and I've read this just in the last few minutes, Queen's Park Rangers didn't want this guy. Queen's Park Rangers don't seem fussed. They haven't tried to get him back. Well, maybe they weren't invited to get him back, or maybe they filled those positions with permanence now. But it's so obvious. I mean, he's a year older. We're riding on Queen's Park Rangers' backs if we take this boy. They'll have broken him in. They'll have broken him into the Championship. They'll have given him a year's extra experience, and we're going to benefit from that. It's fairly obvious, isn't it? The amount of interest this boy, Yang Min Hyuk, just practicing, the amount of interest he generates shouts out that he's a talent in an area up front where we need a little more pace and trickery and talent. He may not play a lot, but who knows what John Massinho's got in store for him. He may not play a lot, minutes rather than matches perhaps, but it's going to be a pleasure to get a preview of a young man that Spurs fans will be envying. They'll be envying us. So, Sounders, all I can say is all the fun is here at Pompey. isn't it? Thank the Lord, Sounders, for a season ticket. Play up, Pompey.